Well, guys, the 2023 Gold Cup is right around the corner, and it is time to release our group stage predictions. Matty G back here with you on Football with Flags. Thanks so much for joining us as always. And thank you to those who have subscribed to the channel here recently. We really appreciate your support and all your interest in the channel. We've got a lot more content coming here in the near future. And for those of you who have not joined us yet, we please encourage you to subscribe to the channel and continue to follow us as we move along with a lot more international soccer content moving forward. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get right into it. Straight into Group A we go with the United States, Jamaica, Trinidad and Tobago, and Curacao. Now you can see there on the top left-hand corner the dates for which these games will be played. And we'll have that for every single one of the groups. So let's just go ahead and get right into it with the United States. Obviously, our defending champions. Back in 2021, they are 7-time champions of this Gold Cup competition. I feel like they have a pretty similar squad to what they brought in 2021. I'm not 100% sure if I'd say it's any better or worse right now. I think it's pretty on par with what they brought several years ago. So we'll see how that plays out for them. In terms of Jamaica, these guys made the final in 2015 and 2017 and then made it all the way to the semis in 2019. So they've had some really great success over the past decade or so. However, they did finish 6th in World Cup qualifying in the final stage with just 11 points, which obviously for them was pretty disappointing. Struggled to score some goals. So it'll be interesting to see how they bounce back from that in the last year or two with some really good recent form in this competition if they can keep that up. Interesting story brewing with Trinidad and Tobago. Nicaragua was originally supposed to be a part of this group, but they were caught using an illegal player, I believe, from Uruguay for, I believe, 8 matches. And due to that, CONCACAF withdrew them from the Gold Cup, took them out, which meant, again, Trinidad and Tobago was a part of the prelim brackets. So since Trinidad, it was the best Nations League B team, they were moved straight up into the group stage. And I believe Antigua and Barbuda take their spot in the prelim bracket format, which is supposed to take place here shortly in just a couple of days, I believe. And then as for Curacao, they lost 2-1 to Panama in the last stage right before the final 8 in World Cup qualifying. I believe they lost 2-1. Pretty disappointing loss considering they could have made it to the final round. They did qualify for the 2019 Gold Cup, so hopefully they will wind up making it back. Again, like I said, we do have them predicted to win their semifinal and final to make it to this group stage, which is coming up shortly. But we'll see how they do. Moving on. And here are our results for Group A. We've got the United States winning the group with 7 points, taking a draw from Jamaica and winning the other 2. We've got Jamaica finishing second, advancing with the United States with 5 points, but also taking a draw against Trinidad, which I do believe I feel like could be a potential upset or at least a battle for second place. I'm not 100% sure Curacao will have enough really to even take a win out of this group stage or advance, but really do feel like it's going to come down to Jamaica and Trinidad for that second place spot. And we've got at the moment Jamaica just edging Trinidad with 5 points over their 4 to advance to the knockout stages of the Gold Cup. Moving straight on to Group B with Mexico, Haiti, Honduras, and Qatar. And we'll start with Mexico at the top. The 8-time winners of this competition, most recently in 2019. They made the final in 2021, but lost to the United States. And Mexico does enter in a bit of an awkward position, obviously not finishing as well as they would have liked in the 2022 World Cup, not advancing out of the group there with Argentina, Saudi Arabia, and Poland, and ending their streak of the round of 16 appearances. But also Mexico, hiring a new manager here recently. Obviously, some roster changes, some moves being made with some older veterans potentially looking to part ways with the national team, and obviously some young guys coming up and seeing if they're ready and fit to take on those roles. So it's going to be an interesting run for Mexico, but still so much history with this team. A lot of great experience, and certainly look for them to have another pretty successful run in this competition. Now for Haiti. Haiti did make it all the way to the semifinals in 2019. It was a fantastic run. They beat Canada 3-2 in the quarterfinals and then lost to Mexico in extra time in the semis. Can Haiti make another run like they did in 2019? It's going to be very difficult for them to do for sure, especially considering I believe this is the toughest group out of the 4 to play with. But we'll see how they stack up. As for Honduras, they finished last in qualifying for the World Cup with those 8 teams only gaining 4 points. They were runners-up in 1991 and made it all the way to the semis in 2011 and 13, but it's been quite a while since we've seen Honduras have a lot of success in this competition. And obviously, with their recent form with World Cup qualifying just looking abysmal, it's going to be very difficult, I think, in my opinion, to see Honduras do well in this competition. But you never know. We'll see how everything pans out for them. And then as for Qatar, they were invited back in 2021. They got all the way to the semis before losing to the United States. Obviously, a very disappointing run in the World Cup, considering they were the hosts back in 2022. So they are certainly looking to rebound as well with a new manager in charge. And look to potentially make another run into the knockout stages and see how far they can go. Pretty straightforward here for us in Group B, with Mexico winning all three of their games, cruising through the group stage, collecting 9 points. Meanwhile, Qatar joining them out of the group with a 1-1 result in this group stage with 4 points. And then, maybe to the surprise of some, we've got Haiti taking a draw against Qatar and Honduras to give them 2 points in third place in the group stage. Meanwhile, Honduras still going through a very difficult, rough patch through World Cup qualifying. Not sure we're going to see them turn it around very much here in this group stage. We've got them at the bottom with just 1 point. On to Group C we go, with Costa Rica, Panama, El Salvador, and our predicted winners in the prelims, Suriname, advancing with these 3 teams. A very interesting group, in my opinion. Especially for that potentially second place spot. But we'll go ahead and start with Costa Rica, the semifinalists in 2017. Remember, they did win their World Cup playoff against New Zealand to advance to the World Cup finals, and had quite the interesting run there in the group stage with Japan, Spain, and Germany almost getting out. They were still alive there late in their final game before finally getting eliminated. They did tie the United States with 25 points in World Cup qualifying, but obviously had to take that playoff spot due to their goal differential. But still a fantastic run in World Cup qualifying. Costa Rica is going to be a force to be reckoned with in this competition. As for Panama, they were semifinalists in 2011, made it all the way to the final in 2005 and 2013, but have yet to record a Gold Cup victory. They finished 5th in World Cup qualifying with 21 points, I believe, behind Costa Rica, falling just 4 short. Remember, they did make their first ever appearance in the World Cup finals back in 2018. Panama definitely going to be looking solid, I think, in this run, especially considering they've also got a CONCACAF Nations League semifinal to play later this summer as well. And as for El Salvador, this team finished 7th in World Cup qualifying with just 10 points, a pretty disappointing run as well. They've never made it past the quarterfinals in terms of the Gold Cup. They did have some success way back in the day, I believe in the 70s, in the old CONCACAF championship format. But obviously for El Salvador, trying to hit some uncharted territory with this Gold Cup campaign in 2023. We'll see how they stack up against everyone else. And as for Suriname, again, still potentially might not even make it. They've got to get through their prelim. They did get in the 2021 edition, played fairly well, but didn't make it out of the group stage, I don't believe. So again, it's going to be a very difficult mountain to climb for Suriname, not only to get into this competition, but also to try and potentially get out of this group stage. A tight battle for first place in this one. We've got Costa Rica, though, just edging out Panama on goal differential, with both of these teams scoring 7 points in the group stage, but Costa Rica claiming the group winners position while Panama finished 2nd. El Salvador getting a result against Suriname with 3 points, and then unfortunately Suriname just coming up very short against each of these 3 teams, which obviously would be a very difficult task if they are to qualify in the first place. But Costa Rica and Panama taking the 2 spots out of Group C in our predictions. Interesting set of teams poised to make an appearance in Group D. It's Canada, Guatemala, Cuba, and our predicted winners in the final prelim, Antigua and Barbuda, who again, remember, are taking Trinidad's spot from the prelims as they get an automatic berth into the group stage. We've got them winning their prelim and advancing all the way to the group stage here with these other 3 sides. So let's go ahead and get started with Canada, your 2000 winners, the only other team besides Mexico and the United States to win this competition. They had a great run in 2007 and in 2021 before losing to Mexico in that semifinal. And a lot of people felt like they could have won that game and gone on to play the U.S. in the final, but unfortunately fell short. They did have a very impressive run in World Cup qualifying. Remember winning that group with all 8 teams in CONCACAF, taking a number of points between the United States and Mexico. And this team, obviously, while they didn't finish great in the group stage in the World Cup, their first appearance ever, certainly looking to avenge those results and playing with the chip on their shoulder, still trying to show that they are a top dog in CONCACAF with this Gold Cup coming up. As for Guatemala, they had a great run in the 60s, back when it was still the CONCACAF Championship. I believe they even won a title at some point during that time, but they've never made it past the quarterfinals, except I think maybe once back in, I believe, 1996, when we've kind of reached our modern era of the Gold Cup. So, a lot of potential here for this Guatemala side to not only make it out of the group, but see what they can maybe do in the knockout stages and pull off some upsets. As for Cuba, they made the quarters in 2013 and 2015. But they have not qualified since 2019. So certainly excited for another berth here in this competition, with a great chance again of potentially making it out of the group. And as for Antigua, really, I think just along for the ride, kind of an unexpected twist with all these storylines, now getting a shot to play in this competition potentially if they can get through the prelims. And we do again have them going through. So we'll see how they stack up and if they can get to this stage of the competition. Maybe the most straightforward group. However, though, for our predictions, we've got Canada cruising through with 3 wins, 9 points in this group. Guatemala advancing fairly comfortably as well with 6 points. Their only loss coming to Canada, obviously. And then Cuba finishing in third as they tie Antigua and Barbuda for them to each split a point for the group stage. Well, there you guys have it, our predictions for the 2023 group stage. As you can see, the teams in gold for each of the 4 groups are the ones we've got advancing, just to remind you. And again, feel pretty confident with these predictions. Obviously, we'll see how the knockouts go, and we'll have those predictions coming up here shortly. But again, these 8 teams are the teams that we've got advancing out of these groups with a shot to go win it all. Guys, as always, thank you so much for your support and watching the channel. Really hope you enjoyed this video. Please let us know down in the comments your own predictions as to who you think will get out of the group stage as well. And make sure you join us for our knockout predictions, our final predictions for the Women's World Cup, as well as some new upcoming stories and videos we've got lined up to put on the channel as well. If you haven't already subscribed, please do so. Guys, again, really appreciate your support. Thank you so much again. And until next time, guys, we'll see you later. Peace out.